Hello, Capricorn. Welcome to Lionheart Dreamweaving. My name is Matthew, and this is a timeless and general reading, which means that whenever you find this message, or, if it finds you, if it speaks to your current life experience, then it's for you. But if it doesn't resonate like that, then just please kindly click to another video. Thanks. So Capricorn, first thing I want to say is actually, you might be having some kind of connection to a Sagittarius energy or someone else of a Sagittarius energy, or in your own chart, or just resonance with the experience of the last Sagittarius reading that I just did, the last reading I just did. And I say that for two reasons, because there in the Sagittarius reading, the overall theme was the Queen of Water, and you have the King of Water, so there's kind of counterpart energy there. And then second of all, also these two animal cards, both of these here, the camel and the zebra, really remind me of Sagittarius, because, well, the camel in this book, I want to read from the book for you for this one. I don't usually do that, but for you I'm feeling really like to deliver the message straight from this text here. And the camel speaks specifically of, balancing fire and water, which is very temperance, very Sagittarius energy, and also both of them speak of, long distance travel and kind of adventurousness and open-minded and curiosity, especially with the zebra. So that's like a very Sagittarian theme here. And yeah, so the overall energy you have with the camel and the zebra. Let's read this from the book here for you. I think there's a message in here for some of y'all, which is, let's see. And I think this is definitely describing you and your energy right now, Capricorn. The camel can handle absolutely anything, as it carries a wealth of nourishment within. This wondrous creature is self-reliant and handles challenges with ease. Even in the face of excess, heat, judgment, or anger, the camel searches inside for the cool elixir of water to calm the situation. The camel represents the ultimate form of bringing opposites into balance, fire and water, and being responsible for one's own reactions. That ties in really well with the King of Water here, really being in control and mastery of your own emotional reactions. And the camel is a wonderful traveler, and is especially fond of trips to faraway lands. See, that's going to be a theme here. We'll come back around to that. The zebras are the most... Okay, I have to take a breath. Whew. This is just really intense energy, guys. Sorry, it's having me speak really fast here. I'm going to try and slow down just a little bit. Zebras are the most precious of gems. They are young at heart, well-cultured, and have an undying curiosity about life. Being in the company of a zebra personality is not only a delight, but it also opens our minds. But be prepared, their potent magic is contagious, and you may soon find yourself in a faraway land, expanding your worldview while having a blast. Zebras also like to contribute to the global health through environmental or volunteer work. Now this card may be a hint to pack your bags. Yeah, you see there's a there's a repeating theme there going already. So, now this can play out in a couple different ways. Because like I said, I'm sensing a sort of partnership dynamic here, or a situation with involving another person potentially. And so, either one of you could really be embodying these, or both of you to different extent, but yeah, definitely someone with a strong Sagittarian kind of energy who's very having this fun, uplifting effect on you, or that's the effect that you're having also on people, and somehow the two of you together are amplifying each other, like empowering each other in. And yeah, so the other part of your overall energy here is this King of Water. So this is of course, a very emotionally mature figure, and it's the masculine energy, right? So this is has also a different kind of subtextual meaning, secondary meaning here of defying and transcending the old traditional kind of gender and sex stereotypes that women are the more compassionate and nurturing and loving and emotionally intelligent, wise gender, and men are stupid and insensitive and blah. Because it can easily, and of course, in many cases in this world, we can see now that those old paradigms are crumbling, and although there may be some truth on average, admittedly, in stereotypes, or has been in the past, and it's kind of natural for our brain to make stereotypes, but so that's why we have those kind of gender norms that have been established over the centuries, but those are all breaking down now, and we're all starting to evolve and change and become more such into our own individual selves with our own individual fluctuating balances of divine masculine and divine feminine energy. So we're being called to also transcend these old gender stereotypes and biases. And so really a masculine person, or specifically like gender or the sex like of men, can be really embodying that more traditional feminine role of nurturing and loving and compassion and emotional openness. And so I see that it's for you just really natural and innocent kind of thing. You're just like in a state, you're flowing so well with life that it's you're just transcending all need for labels, right? You're just being what you are and expressing yourself, moving through the world from a heart-centered place, and from embodying also a childlike essence where you have gained the emotional wisdom and maturity of your life experiences, but you haven't let that jade you or close your heart. You've actually allowed it to open you more to the beauty of life and return you to what it's like to see from the eyes of a child again. And part of that whole process is, when you are dropping all of the labels and conditionings that society and other people in history have put on us. So even now, even in this movement of the spiritual so with this overall energy, I see that, like I said, these are both cards of having a long journey, which there may be an allusion to that, a hinting of that being in a more physical sense, or in the future, or maybe there you already have been on a lot of world travels, and that's informed your life experience to this point. It's going to be different for all of you because this is a general reading, or maybe you just have dreams of that, and that's coming like in the future towards the end of this reading. But the point being, though, that you've gone on a whole entire journey of opening yourself to all the different all the different shades and colors of life, and like being just open-minded and curious about all the different ways that people can be, and learning to see people without judgment, and learning to temper and dissolve the kind of difficult feelings that can arise when other people project their closed-minded judgments on you. And so that's what I'm saying, like, 'cause this is coming next to the politics card here, which this is like all the different masks that people can play, and all the different labels that get put on us, and so I see that there can be a bit of a conflicting energy coming here, because this is the kind of energy that comes in from the outside world and is being put projected onto you constantly. Just the way that people are and the way that the world operates, there's the pressure, the social pressure to operate through these kind of lenses and to kind of play the game and put on a mask and go with certain labels, right? And yeah. So, okay, I'm also getting a completely different thread, a completely different message. This also sort of weaves back in with the larger political issues that go on into the world. So we have, I see that, because also, I believe it was mentioned in the zebra card that there's a tendency towards activism and social justice and volunteering and environmental causes and that kind of thing. So what I'm seeing here is also this this desire to give back in some way and use the emotional wisdom and experience you've gained to benefit the world somehow. And but it's a bit, it's not an easy thing to do, right? Because when you start to try to come into this heart-centered place here, and because if you think about, oh man, my mind is in a million directions. Oh, please bear with me. I'm sorry. I'm trying to pull through a lot here. So, okay. If you think about the whole political situation of the world right now and how there's such economic inequality and such, like, the way the resources on this planet are being distributed right now is incredibly unfair. And there's so many people that are suffering and starving, and there's like so much problems with that in the world. But it's completely something that is coming through from our own minds. It's like it's a problem in the human psyche. It's being wedged in between here, the minds and the politics card. So. This is bringing me to a really deep philosophical point here that a lot of people have really tough time swallowing the idea that an all-loving creator God could create a world where there is so much suffering and things are so imbalanced and there's like all this poverty and war and disease and all these horrible things that people are suffering from, and that, we can have so much abundance in the world, but it's being hoarded and locked away and not evenly distributed through people that are really in need. And the difficult thing about that is, the difficult thing that makes it hard to swallow and work with that existential problem is that it's all coming from the human mind. So the creator that gave us this free will, and we're choosing to use this free will to create these systems we're listening to these voices, right? When the nature of reality, fundamentally the nature of reality is this: love and abundance, and that's just by default. But humanity has been, on a world scale, on a global scale, we've all been, in some ways or another, been listening to these kind of voices. These are the kind of energies which have been this is what we've been listening to. This is the kind of direction, the leaders we've been following. This is how we've been creating our world, is from this. And we're going through this process right now of returning to our innocence. It's a long spiritual journey. And it's a process of returning to our innocence, but we have to be able to drop all of these masks and drop all of this, this mind and these voices, right? Because the love and abundance, it's our natural state of being as humans, and it's just that we've wandered away from it. we've wandered away from our own innocence into this political corruption and blah, blah, blah. And we're all like going on this long journey to try and walk each other home. But oh man, okay, so here's it's been like a very kind of traumatic, long traumatic process, and there's been so much war and fighting and wounding and trauma and pain and suffering and sorrow, and it's so deep. It's you see this person has put on all this armor, and they have all these buttons on the armor that are their trigger points. They easily can explode, and it's like it's self-defensive, and it's self-defensive against the pain and the suffering of this world, right? Like it's that there's so much resistance to just I'm sorry, this is there's a lot to feel. Okay, yeah, this is a lot to feel. Really deep. The waters are running really deep on this one, but so I see that you're going through this process then of surrendering the resistance and the fighting to just allow yourself to feel the sorrows of the world and the sorrows of your personal traumas, and right, because this is how you get back to the state of innocence. You have to release those imprints from your body. Like there's a physical memory in your body of like these difficult emotions carry that we've all been imprinted with in some way or another, whether that's directly through your personal life experiences or just down your genetic line. But anyway, we all have these things which connect us to the personally in a very visceral way to the existential sorrow. And so the thing about this card that really special in this deck is that so I was going on this point here, but people have a hard time understanding that the suffering of this world, and why would an all-loving God allow and create and allow for us to suffer in these such ways. And the thing we have to understand is that the pain and the suffering and the sorrows of this world are not meant here to torture us, okay? Like they sharpen our awareness. They bring our awareness to where there is an issue that needs to be resolved, okay? Like it's a signal. It's just a really intense and strong signal that we've gotten very, very off track in this world, and collectively, internally, externally, it's just a big jumbled mess, and there's a lot of unprocessed emotion. So, but when we stop fighting that and we really just go into processing that emotion, deep emotional processing, right? And it's a whole ass journey. Anyway, but when we really go into that, there's a breakthrough, and we transform. Okay, we transform. So this is beautiful. It's really intense. That's the thing. The other reason people resist this is because when you really go viscerally into the depth of these kind of global sufferings and emotions and deep, deep personal traumas and ancestral traumas, and you're going to heal all this and drop all of this labels and all of the judgments and all of the guilt and shame and everything of this world and all of that, it takes you through this whole journey, which is an intense swirling process, and you just have to stay near the center as best you can, because the further you get away from your own center and the more you get distracted into the external world of what's going on with the politics and the everything externally and all that stuff, it takes you further away from the center, and you start getting whipped around and you get dizzy at the edges of this thing. It's like being in a hurricane, right? So the stillest point of a hurricane is always the center. You have to find the center of the storm, the zen, there's so much symbolism in here. So there's the four elements, okay, on the out, And then there's this rainbow bridge here, and then the Trinity, and then the duality, yin yang, masculine, feminine balance there. Yeah. So if you can maintain yourself as close as you can at this center point, you won't be whipped around so much, and you'll be able to withstand the hurricane of change. And so that's like the whole world is going through this, right? Like when I'm recording this now, this is meant to be a timeless reading, so potentially people may find this even years from now. But when I'm recording this reading right now is the year 2020, and this is, for the world, the global events that are going on is an unprecedented level of change and upheaval. And what's it's birthing through is this new vision here, right? So if you look closely here at the bottom, you can see that there's this figure that's very earthly, and they're down on their hands and knees, and it's kind of like almost this very disempowered version of ourselves, but on the other hand it's also our roots, and this more empowered, and it also this looks like a masculine figure, and there's a feminine arising out of it. But like I was saying though, we're transcending those limitations of those kind of labels. So these are also both parts of yourself, and really you could say even that they're both masculine figures, honestly. But anyway, so this is like gaining the wings and the higher vision, the transcendence, and what it leads into. This is the point where I'm at a loss for words, because it's clearly, it's the void, right? It's the beyond. No one at this point, none of us oracles and tarot readers and psychics can really, like, no one can see beyond the threshold of this global transformation and this new vision. Like, it's still forming, we're all still co-creating it together, and there's a threshold point, particularly this year's winter solstice, December 21st, 2020. None of us can really see beyond this point right now. And also this card is reminding me of, in some mythologies and some understandings, for example, there's the most primordial force of the universe, the Great Mother, is this eternal void, that births all things. So this is like the concept, like, for example, of Aluna, I believe. And actually you can look that up. There's a fascinating documentary about an indigenous tribe and their spiritual beliefs, and the journey that they went on to demonstrate. They went through great lengths to demonstrate to us ignorant Westerners the interconnection of the environment with us as life, like the ecosystemic interactions, and how the way that we haphazardly and carelessly destroy land to build our factories ends up killing us. We're actually literally creating this climate change and these environmental catastrophes by how carelessly we tear the land apart, not considering the ecosystemic interactions. And that documentary is called Aluna, and it's very fascinating. You can look it up on YouTube, I believe. I can even put a link in the description. But so the one last thing I wanted to say is I'm seeing this all loops back around here, and there's a connection. So you see this camel going, this is like moving through the darkness, and there's darkness through the nothingness. So I'm seeing that there's a bit of a hint here of a journey. This might actually. So I think the sense I was getting is that there's been a more of a spiritual journey, an internal journey here of your whole process of achieving this high state of emotional intelligence and returning to your innocence and dropping these things so that you're able to manifest much more experiences of abundance and true love and all of that. And now it's going to start to unfold into a much more manifest external adventure, more of a pack your bags, globe-trotting type of experience is starting to come over the horizon here. And it's still, there's still the moon card, so it's still a whole unknown. Can't say anything more of it than that, but there's a very promising hint, very exciting future right over the horizon for you here, just over the threshold of the unknown. So I'm really happy for you, Capricorn. And okay, yeah, so I forgot in the whole rush, went off on a tangent, but another important message that was coming through with this download, the big download I got, was a kind of central theme I'm seeing here in the middle of this reading is being open and to really receive universal love and abundance and unconditional love, right? Because keeping in mind here the overall theme is this King of Water here, and this is like I was saying, a deep and long emotional journey. And the King of Water is very masterful of the emotional realm, and they've actually they have enough control in the sense of they can navigate through it masterfully enough that a lot of their emotional process can be fully internal and beneath the surface, and they can have a lot of deep emotions going on and might not necessarily need to involve other people. Of course, they do know when also as well to reach out to other people for emotional support, but on the other hand, a lot of that process is going to be happening internally entirely here for you. And yeah, so the whole top theme row here almost is a theme. It's a one message blending together, which is so this is the kind of the dream of humanity, basically. This would kind of be like us reaching the point where we can live in that utopia. If this is like the dream of the hippies, for example, the kind of vision that they had of this where we can all live in peace and abundance and just love, right? But obviously the world is more the reality of how the world has been a lot more like this. This has been covering on top of and so that's the thing about it, right? Is this, like I was saying earlier, the love and the natural state of abundance is just the natural frequency of the world, and this is something that we've strayed away from through our mental illness of humanity, that we've come to create these kind of things. And it's like it's a negative feedback loop, because this is the kind of world that we've created that is cold and machine-like like this, and has like all these dehumanizing mechanisms to it, and despiritualizes the world so that we're able to like exploit it like this. And then there's this social game that we're all sort of obligated into play, where there's a politics to economics, like that's just like politics, but even like we play this in our love lives and the dating and the way people handle like relationships and dating. There's quite a politics to the way people navigate it, and it's like this kind of thing of, you know, everyone is sort of in the shadows. Every individual party and party of individuals is selfishly seeking their own benefit out of the situation, often at the expense of any and everything else. And then on the front of it, they're like everyone has to put on this happy mask and play this certain along with the facade, because part of the rules of this politics game is you can't let the ugly side show to the surface. You always have to be covering it with this type of mask here. So like I said, this is a fully internal job to be like the emotional, and it's a deeply emotional process to go through, because these cycles are going to repeat, manifest in the external world as long as these are happening internally, right? So this is the fighting the pain, fighting the sorrow, instead of letting it flow and heal and awaken you to this new vision here, right? That is what is keeping this going for the whole world, right? So now, at this particular time that I'm recording this, there's really powerful stuff happening that's been happening on a world scale with the Capricorn planets. We're having this incredibly rare, once every hundreds, a few hundreds or thousands, I don't remember, it was a couple thousand or something year, rare transit of Pluto and Saturn and Jupiter all conjunct in Capricorn. So right now there's a whole process of the whole world is going through a shedding of these, and it's, first of all, what's happening is it's bringing more of the ugly to the surface, but ultimately what's being born out of it is this new vision where we're able to return to innocence. All right.